do have a very genuine question. Sometimes when I look at some people's reviews, and then I'll look at their review history, I'm like, why are you reading so many books that you absolutely don't enjoy? It looks like he has a Kindle Unlimited account, so he'll go through and review stuff, and it's like, I don't think I could go through and constantly read things that don't give me some sort of level of enjoyment. It's just wow, man. Because I don't like like soapbox political propaganda stuff as much as the next person, but just look at some of the titles. Oh man. Oh my god. Okay, so bisexual dominatrix space captain becomes alien overlord's quisling ruler of something or other, ruler of Earth. The Duchess of Terra continues the centuries in the future story of Earth's defeat by more alien advanced Imperium, the subsequent surrender of Earth, and acceptance of a bitchy style collaborative government, the puppet rule of the main character, the Duchess, a bisexual dominatrix, former privateer space captain, the threat of an alien theocratic empire invasion, which, if successful, means the enslavement of humanity, and sexual innuendo abounds. Somewhere beneath the heavy layers of DS and BD, which the author is apparently a proponent of, exists somewhat entertaining sci-fi story of an alien invasion, humanity's subjugation, delusional acceptance of benevolent despotic rule, and the conflict between collaboration and resistors. The story might exist. It's just suffocated by not only the author's adolescent level of gratuitous sexualization, but a slew of others. I mean, the way he describes this, yeah. I think I tried the first book of that series because sometimes I'll pick up something for like when it hits 99 cents, and I'll give it a look, see if it basically goes around the wheelhouse I'm interested in. And then somebody's saying to his review, adding lesbian or gay relationships did nothing for the story and should have been left out. And then the other guy is like, I agree with what you're saying in regards to the repetitive nature of certain aspects of the book. The author does need to re-explain concepts over and over again and re-identify characters, just as we were meeting without the book. However, I disagree with your characterization of the book as heavy-handed LGBTQ, or its blind acceptance or rationalization of subjugation for the greater good. On one hand, I never felt like my nose was being rubbed in lesbian or gay relationships. They only that they existed. There were not any graphic like, gay or lesbian scenes described anywhere in the book. There was a couple of relationships, but nowhere do they get overly detailed or explicit. On the other hand, I think you're misleading the situation. I truly believe that the heroine of this book tends to reassert Earth as an independent world. Um, yeah, again, it just depends on what kind of expectations did the reader have. The more and more I look at books, when I usually leave a 4 or 5 star review, pretty much I would say 75% of my wheelhouse was met. That makes me super happy because, with books, not everything always overlaps, that sort of thing. And sometimes you won't find out if it overlaps unless you can see where some of the first few books go. Um, a pair. Oh man, but some of these reviews, people are right. Like sometimes when you do leave reviews, it does give you a sense of the mindset of the reader it's themselves rather than sometimes the content of the book. Um, which that's understandable. I mean, because again, I don't see 1 and 2 star reviews as really extremely useless. I just see it as like, will this have content in it that might either help some readers or repel them? It's just important for the writer to make it very clear in the blurb, like, hey, I'm taking from X, Y, and Z wheelhouse, and here's the expectations for the book. I mean, because with blurbs, that's your first initial signpost, at least to me anyway. So it's important to see, to set the reader expectation, like, hey, it's going to have this, this, and that in it. Like, if you say you're going to be Firefly meets Star Wars, what part of Firefly? What part of Star Wars? The overall conflict aspect? Uh, what types of characters you have? What's the overall theme? That's that sort of thing. Because it is one thing to use, in a blurb to compare yourself to other series, but I think sometimes it's important to also clarify like what aspect of those series you want to use. Like say you put in this series is Babylon 5 meets Honor Harrington. So I know I'm guilty of this in some reviews where I don't clarify as much, but from going forward, when I do review things, it's like I'm going to hit on whether or not this was filled with likable characters that have virtues, people you can cheer for, whether or not it has added superversive level, to where it's more uplifting than not. Um, and plus, if I do compare it to a series I enjoy, it'll be like this has aspects of Babylon 5 in the fact that all these characters are working towards a common goal or something like that, or like they have to fight an ancient evil. Uh, I'll try to bring forth like what aspect from my favorite shows or everything that is encapsulated in the book or the series. Like recently I've been reading, what is it, the Quantum Cheeseburger, and that thing has kind of like the goofy aspects of the Men in Black movies where, it's corny and it's cheesy, but that's perfectly fine with me. Sometimes I just want something that's more lighthearted. And I'll link it below, see what other people think. But so far, I've gotten through the first book, and I'll continue on with the series just to see where it goes. Um, Sometimes writers will like focus on other characters, which it looks like the next book in that series is going to focus on two other different characters. I don't know if I'll ever see that one guy again, but he made the first book very enjoyable. And it has like aspects of Area 51 and just shenanigans. Like again, like that's what I enjoyed about the Will Smith Men in Black movies. They didn't completely take themselves seriously. They made fun of their own tropes. They had heartwarming messages every once in a while throughout this thing. So, that's why I'll try to clarify in reviews, like what parts of X, Y, or Z thing did this remind me of, so I can give readers a more clear thing than Florida Woman likes this because likable characters. Because for me, likable characters could be something different from somebody else's like definition of likable characters. Yeah, you just never know. And oh boy, I just want to take a look at a handful more of his reviews. Let's see. Um, for Wayward Galaxy, he said it's lightweight and poorly written, amateurish mishmash of other storylines. The Story Factory Assembly Line ebook industry has two authors turning out a lightweight reboot read knockoff of numerous films and books since the 1970s. There's an amateurish mishmash designed to feed the corporate maw insatiable for more series. Basically, whale readers. And the thing is, I can see why this has happened because I still have a kind of whale reader mindset when it comes to certain things where I want to see a excuse me. Sorry about that. I always have my stupid ass allergies. Like I have to use a neti pot like once in the morning and once in the evening when I get home from work. This is like But yeah, to look back what he's looking at to keep up with the rigmarole of Amazon's broken algorithm. You have to constantly churn out books to stay on top, to stay noticed, to stay sponsored, to stay within striking distance of the top 100 merry-go-round that's happening. It's a sad state of affairs, but that's how it is with Amazon. It's the reason why I create my booktube channels, just to try to sift through some of that and be like, okay, yes, I do like popcorn kind of fun. It doesn't have to be Shakespeare. It doesn't have to be anything of big literary merit where it has like high functioning themes and sometimes I just want to be like, this is the book equivalent of a corny B-rated movie that I just enjoyed coming back to every once in a while. Kind of like Tremors, you know? Sometimes you just want to basically have an empty level of fun. And it's not so empty in the fact that it's useless or meaningless. It's just you don't have to basically engage, you know, your brain for thinking about what's the deeper meaning of this. Like, like where the writer says, "Oh, the curtains are blue," and then somebody in lit class basically says, "This represents the writer's sadness." That's that sort of thing. So that's just how I look at that. And yeah, it looks like based on his reviews, he does have Kindle Unlimited. Let's see. Pitiful, terrible story concept told exceedingly poorly. Titan is a near time story of woke beta astronauts and scientists dispatched to Saturn's moon, Titan, in a haphazard mad dash to cross 8 billion miles in global effort to find what happened to a probe that went silent after discovering sentient life forms. Which, thanks to Deacon Flynn, it should be sapient life forms. Sapient. Because believe me, I made that mistake even with that protocol, which I went back through and corrected some of the mistakes, but I'll still leave some of them in to where because you know what, Kronos would view everybody as sapient that can feel and everything, but he wouldn't. Well, no, well, sentient. Yeah, yeah, duh. Go, go, go me, Florida woman messing up the English language. But yeah, for as far as Kronos is concerned, for the Voidwalker slash Keeper Brigade, he views everybody as sentient. Doesn't really understand, the whole touchy feely like aspect. But sapient, he only considers himself sapient. There we go. But to finish up this part of the review, let's see. Um, every SJW identity box is ticked by the author: race, gender, country, etc. No steely-eyed rocketmen in this cast of characters. Only emotionally unstable, passive-aggressive. Let's see. Like, I don't know what pendant means. Again, learn a new word every day, I guess. But I'll figure that out later. Ability to cry at anything, as do the aliens. Hand-holding, espresso swilling types allowed, and romantic attainments a must for this 8-person crew aboard the spaceship Love Boat. Adding to the train wreck of a story, the established Arthur doubled down by choosing a bloviated first-person Dear Diary format for much of the book. There are the descriptions of the crew, which reads as a bio for a singles cruise, any potential entertaining aspects quickly glossed over, and a fetish for what beverages and pastries are served at the memorable conference meetings. Among the worst books I've ever endured. Titan is not recommended. It was fully read by foolish me via Kindle Unlimited. Again, it's like if I would actively go on my way to read a bunch of floating ab books, and it's like I know that's not my cup of tea, so I'm not gonna put myself through, aliens, sex slaves, mumbo jumbo, the queen that basically tames the wild alien beast prince or whatever. It's like I'm not gonna actively read those because I know I don't like that sort of thing. I prefer a more courtly aspect to the romance. Like, again, Sheridan Delin is a good example of that, and poking fun at a little bit of like courtship rituals if it's between, like an alien race versus humans. Because again, that stuff made me laugh with Susan Ivanova, where it's like the Illuminati guy wanted to close the deal by having sex, and then Dr. Franklin's like, you could put a bag over your head and do it for Babylon 5, and then she's like, brilliant! But it's because he pointed out that the Illuminati didn't know what human sex rituals were, so that's what made it funny. Like, that's the reason why I'm trying to put a little bit of that with Uplift Protocol, not to go to like super crude levels or anything like that, just to poke fun. It's like, because Eliza really doesn't have any idea how Typherian stuff works in terms of that, and right now with the way with what her belt is doing, her whole setup is going to be changed over time anyway. But I just thought it would be an interesting way to look at the fact that to become this ultimate guardian of all life, she herself cannot produce life. So, that's just a little theme I wanted to throw in there. Nothing bigger than that. That's just the little character arc that's going to happen through the next few books, because the White Defender belt's not going to really become super active until like season 2, basically, which is going to be like book 4 and onward, because slowly everything's going to build up to the final confrontation between the good faction versus Kronos. Kronos is going to be the ultimate end level bad guy. So all the other threads have to start tying into that. But like I was saying on Twitter, there's like certain threads that I solve in each book. And then there's the overall themes that run throughout the whole series. And then and there's also overall arcs that'll run throughout each season. Like I will do my best to basically, because I did like that aspect of Babylon 5 where there's overall character arcs each season that could get solved, and then open up something else for another season if there was the overall whatever mainline theme running through each season individually. So I wanted to take a look at by doing that. And since it's a serial, like the the reason why you don't see me constantly describing the characters that are already on screen is because I usually like to put in descriptors for some characters when you first initially meet them, so you can get a rough idea of what they look like. But I don't want to go into such detail to where it's like taking, with because even though I enjoyed like a Sword of Truth and even a few little aspects of Wheel Time, I know I don't do that kind of level of detail. I have a pretty active imagination, so I really don't need that level of detail. Again, that's just a personal preference on my end of things as a reader and writer. I mean, will I read books that have detail? Yeah, sure. Provided the main story is interesting enough for me to keep going. The chicken that is not a chicken. Thank you, thank you, Mr. Goodkind, for making me remember that one solitary point very well with your stuff there. So there you go, people. I guess this is a little bit of a ramble. Is more like reviews are in the eye of the beholder, and it'll tell you just as much about the reviewer and their preferences and wheelhouses as anything else. Have a good day, everybody.